On the surface, this seems like a silly question, doesn't it? Shane Wright, first overall this year. A lot of guys talking about a franchise centerman here. And Nick Suzuki, a guy who's kind of growing every year, but was traded by Vegas as a prospect. Yes, was a high first round pick, but not a first overall franchise centerman regarded as that by many. And he's kind of turning into that. But I see a lot of people comparing Nick Suzuki to Patrice Bergeron, who is a number one centerman, but he doesn't light the world on fire like you'd expect a franchise number one centerman to do. So why is this a question? Why is the guy who could be looked at as similar to a Jack Eichel or maybe like a Ryan Getzlaf being compared to Nick Suzuki, who's looked at as a two-way guy who I see a lot of people saying, hey, I don't know if he's going to put up a crazy amount of points, but he's going to be good all over the ice and a great leader. Well, here's the thing. Two big reasons. First of all, Nick Suzuki has been growing every year, and we know that offensively, the kid has a ton of skill. He's absolutely slick. His playmaking ability, his shot, his offensive vision, his hockey IQ, it's really high. Higher than he gets credit for. And he is a franchise-level number one centerman. Okay, this conversation is more interesting and closer and tighter than you would think because Suzuki's going to keep growing. He's going to get more confidence. He's going to improve as a leader. A lot of people, including myself, thinks he should be the next Habs captain, not Gallagher, which I know would have been crazy to say even a year ago. I think it should be number 14, not number 11. But Shane Wright, on the other hand, is being drafted as a guy who can put up a ton of points as a first-line center. Again, another good leader, a good pro who does everything right and can put up a ton of points for you. And the thing here is, I think that Suzuki, is the one who's going to end up being the higher echelon, higher caliber center. Now, that's crazy to say, and I do think Shane Wright is going to be a 1A, 1B, possibly an Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby type of situation. Maybe not to that degree, because look, let's get one thing straight. Nick Suzuki is not Sidney Crosby, but that's just the kind of comparison where Crosby's just a little bit better, but Malkin has always just been right behind him as a center. And yes, he's classified as a number 2 center, but could easily be a number 1 center on so many other teams. I think that's what Montreal might have here with Suzuki and Shane Wright. But I do think Suzuki's going to be the number 1 guy. I think that he can round out his game more to have an offensive explosion season coming up here. I think Suzuki could get 80, 90, dare I say 100 points in the future. Now, a lot of people are saying maybe it doesn't look like that right now, that he could get 100 points. Just you wait. The more he matures and the more he kind of gets a hold of its offensive touch, the more possibilities he has to become a higher echelon offensive player, And Shane Wright, I've seen a lot of people not saying that he's a bust, but that they were kind of surprised. Yes, the numbers are still good from his OHL season in his draft here with Kingston, but the numbers weren't quite as good as they thought they would be for somebody who's a number 1 center potential in the NHL offensively. It wasn't quite there. So that, again, it could just be a one-off, but in general, that tells you a lot about how a player is going to perform in the NHL. Now, there's exceptions, Mr. Nail Yakupov, when he was drafted first overall, he lit it up with the Sarnia Sting in his draft here, and we know how that turned out. But with Shane Wright, if he can't light the OHL on fire, it's going to be tough to light the NHL on fire. And look, let me be clear here. I'm not saying that Suzuki is already an offensive superstar. He's clearly just climbing the ladder. He's getting there, but he's not quite there yet. I'm just saying that I think that Suzuki has a higher potential to do that than Shane Wright, which sounds crazy to say about a first overall pick, but so far what I'm seeing from the scouts, what I'm seeing from fans, that's what it might be. Like, it seems like Bedard next year is the real offensive catalyst, game breaker superstar. And Shane Wright here could be a good, maybe higher echelon first line center. Like, I don't want to scare you, Montreal fans, but I mean, it seems like he's not going to be this, but he could end up being a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins type. That's what I've been seeing. And hopefully it's a higher end and he's not like that, but I'm just saying, it seems like that might be a possibility. So, yes, Suzuki could end up being better than Shane Wright. But again, no matter what, down the middle, the Montreal Canadiens are going to be awesome here, and it's a lot better than when they were hoping and praying for Alex Galchenyuk, okay, or Jesperi Kotkaniemi to pan out as number one centers here. So this is looking a lot brighter than that, and that's something to really be proud of and be excited for, Montreal fans. But let me know in the comments down below, who do you think is going to be better, Suzuki or Shane Wright? And I know he hasn't even been drafted by the Habs yet, but it's an interesting conversation. Very, very good. And it's honestly a discussion where you're going to get different answers from everybody. Some people are going to say, hey, first overall pick, he's going to be better than Suzuki. Some other people are going to be saying, look at what Suzuki is and the monster that he's becoming in a good way. So it's just a really interesting discussion, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.